Hey guys, welcome back to Labor Laws Lecture Series. We are here to discuss the Employee State Insurance Act 1948, and here is the syllabus for Employee State Insurance Act 1948. And so far we discussed the overview of the Employee State Insurance Act and followed by key definitions and then administrative mechanism. In this video, we are going to discuss Employee State Insurance Funds and contribution. Before we get into a subject matter, I request you to please subscribe Parva Media channel for more videos on LLB related or law related courses. Employee State Insurance Fund, as we know that it is an insurance, there will be a fund, and then for that particular fund there will be a contribution from the employer. It is the most simplest form, right? There will be a fund, as the name suggests here, there is a fund here, and when we say fund and insurance, it is very obvious that there will be a someone should contribute for this. Okay, so under this act provides for creation of a fund which is called as Employee State Insurance Fund. And what is the purpose of this fund? It is very simple. The purpose is to meet the benefits of to make a payment of benefits to the insured person in case of employment injury, occupational diseases, and then maternity benefit and etc. So this is a case where employee state insurance fund will be utilized. The second one, where meeting the cost of administration of a ESIC. As ESIC is a huge body, contains chairman, vice chairman, and then members. So it's a big body and you have huge employees, officers. To meet any administrative expenses of ESIC, this fund can be utilized. And the third one, making provision for authorized expenses. If any huge expenses is coming up in the next quarter or next financial year, that required provisions can also be made. Okay, so as we discussed earlier, ESI fund is mainly formed from contribution from both employer and employee. So employer and employee both have to contribute for ESI fund. Okay, what is the contribution amount of employee? It is 0.75% of the wages, and employer is 3.25% of the wages of an employee. So these two contribution put together 4% of the employee wages will go into ESI fund as contribution. And who is going to manage this particular fund? This ESI fund shall be held and administered by ESI Corporation. ESI Corporation is a key wing, and this is going to manage ESI fund. And all the money related to ESI fund shall be deposited into RBI or any other bank which is approved by central government. Okay, any amount, excess amount with a fund, that should be deposited in RBI, or with the approval of a central government, they can deposit in any other banks. Here is a detailed list of a funds, detailed list of a purpose for which employee state insurance can be expanded under section 28 of the act. This is a detailed list. Earlier we saw it is only 3 major bullet points there. One is payment of medical benefit, sickness benefit and other things. And the second one is administration of a ESIC. And the third one is for a large expenses provisions. But here is a detailed list for which the ESI fund may be expanded under section. It is given in section 28. So first one is medical treatment of a insured persons and a family, and then fees and allowances of a members of a ESI corporation, and payment of salaries and wages of employers of ESIC, establishment of and maintenance of hospitals, dispensaries and other institutions including staff quarters. So construction of a staff quarters can also be done with ESI fund. This was held in the case of Bai Malimbu versus state of Gujarat. And then other expenses are payment of contribution to any state government, local authority or any private body if individual use the medical treatment from them, because if certain medical treatments are not available in ESI hospitals, then they can refer it to a state government or a local authority hospitals. In those hospitals, if employee get treated, then the amount will be paid by ESI corporation using ESI fund. And then defraying the cost of auditing of the ESI accounts, any expenses related to auditing of accounts of the ESI, cost related to setting up a employee insurance code. Employee insurance code is one of the key feature of a ESIC. ESIC setups EI code, employee insurance code, and it deals with all the cases related to ESIC with the principal employer, immediate employer, and then employee. Any cases of these four parties, right, that will be dealt in EI code first. And we discussed in the last video about EI code. Payment of any sum under any contract enter into for the purpose of the act. So for the purpose of the act means for the construction or any act expenses which for the purpose of the expenses, if ESIC enter into a contract with third party, that amount can be paid from ESI fund. The same way, if there is any court case court decree, and then if some amount of payable comes under that, then that sum can be paid from ESI fund. And if there is any civil or criminal procedures against the ESIC, to fight that, the ESIC can use ESI fund. And then improve the health and welfare of insured and family members and other purposes which are specified central government. This is a detailed list of expenses or purposes for which ESI fund can be utilized. This is defined in section 28 of this act. Okay, now let's look into the contribution part, which is a key area of this ESI and Employee State Insurance Act of 1948. Every employee has to contribute, all employees to be insured in a company, and where the salary is less than 21,000. Okay, and then the contribution, as the ESI scheme is a contributory in nature, both employer and employee have to pay the contribution. But who will decide this contribution? It will be decided by central government, and once the central government decides the rate of the ESI payment, then employer has to deduct the amount and pay it to ESI corporation. To whom he has to pay payment? They have to make payment to ESI corporation. So the scheme is contributory. Both employer and employee has to contribute. Employer will deposit money to ESI corporation, but the rate of contribution will be determined by central government. What is the current rate? Current rate of contribution is employer has to contribute 3.25% and employee has to contribute 0.75%. Put together 4% will go into ESI fund. Okay, this is a ESI fund. 4% goes into ESI fund. How this payment happens? The employee, the salary will be deducted, employee salary will be deducted by employer to the extent of 0.75%, and then he adds 0.75% here, 0.75 to 3.25, total 4% he will contribute into ESI fund. It is the employer's responsibility to deduct employee portion of it and then add it to his portion and deposit into employee state insurance fund. Is there any exemption to this? Yes. If any employee wage is less than rupees 134 per day, average daily wages is less than 134, then this employee is exempted from making a payment of employee state insurance. But the 3.25% portion will be paid by employer as it is. There is no change in that. Only employee is exempted from making his contribution. Two important terms which we need to remember in contribution is, one is contribution period and the second one is cash benefit period. Contribution period is nothing but it is a period when employee is making a contribution, and when cash benefit period means when employee can avail the benefit. Okay, this is a contribution, it is a payment time. Okay, there are two contributions period. One is 1st April to 30th September. If any payment is made in between, then minimum 78 days in this contribution period. Then cash benefit period is 1st January of the following year to 30th June. For example, if it is starting from 1st April 2020, so to 30th September 2020, If employee and employer put together made a contribution of 78 days for particular employee, then that employee can claim benefit from 1st Jan 2000 2021 to 30th June 2021. And the next cycle is 1st October to 31st March of the following year, and the benefit period is 1st July 31st December. The only problem what we are saying is, if the employee whoever joins during the period, right, he should contribute 78 days in that contribution period, then only he is eligible for cash benefit. So few key points with respect to a contribution and cash benefit. Employee shall deposit a ESI corporation in designated SBI bank. All the amount should be deposited to ESI corporation. Where he has to deposit it? He has to deposit it in SBI bank or any other branch which is designated by ESI corporation. And when he has to deposit, the period is within 15 days of the last day of the contribution period. So 30th September is the contribution period last date. Within 15th October, they have to make payment. To qualify for the benefit, employee must have make a payment of 78 days in that particular contribution period, otherwise he is not eligible. The wage limit for ESI Act increased to rupees 21,000. Note this is a latest amendment. It is increased to 21. Earlier it was 15,000. If any employee is drawing more than 21,000, then he need not to pay ESI insurance contribution, and he is not also eligible to claim any benefits of the ESI. Okay, or assume like if any employees earning increases more than 21,000 during the contribution period. For example, 1st April to 30th September is a contribution period. If employee's salary increases to 25,000 on 1st of July. Okay, on 1st of July, if employee salary increases, what he should do, whether he should contribute for ESIC, ESI, Employee State Insurance Act or not. He has to contribute up to 1st July to 30th September. Next, on what amount he has to pay? He has to pay on 25,000 or 21,000. No, he has to pay on 25,000. So on 25,000, 0.75% from employee and 3.25% from employer on 25,000 will be deposited up to 30th September. But from 1st October onwards, he is not liable to make payment for employee state insurance fund. Clear? So contribution period, there are two periods, 1st April to 30th September and 1st October to 31st March. So corresponding cash benefit period are 1st Jan to 30th June and 1st July to 31st December. That's it on employee fund and the contribution part. Few more key points with respect to employee state insurance fund and contribution. Penalty for not depositing contribution is 12% of the simple interest. If employer fails to deposit the contribution amount, then he has to make a payment of 12% simple interest. Otherwise, any other rate specified by the central government. And the other important case here is on principal employer. We discussed here, right, Royal Talkies case during the definitions phase. Royal Talkies is a talkies which falls under ESI Act. Okay, and they given a contract for cycle stand and then for canteen in a theater. Cycle stand and canteen to a contractor. Okay, Royal Talkies, assume that they have 30 employees here, and then cycle stand guy is having 5 employees. Contractor hired 5 employees here, and then 10 employees to maintain the canteen. As employer, the Royal Talkies comes under ESI Act. Royal Talkies will be treated as principal employer, and the contractor will be treated as immediate employer. Okay, Royal Talkies here is a principal employer and contractor is a independent or immediate employer. It is a responsibility of a Royal Talkies to collect the ESI amount of canteen employees and also cycle stand employees and his employees, total 30 plus 5 plus 10. 45 employees ESI should be paid from principal employer, who is that Royal Talkies, to ESI fund. It is not the responsibility of the immediate employer, it is the responsibility of a principal employer. And after that, principal employer can collect the money from immediate employer. Okay, so he can collect the money here, but the first is it is a responsibility of the principal employer to make the payment. And then employer's contribution. Okay, there is another one. If a principle of quid pro quo is will not apply here. Quid pro quo means something for something. If I pay for 50 rupees, you give me 50 rupees worth goods. Okay, something for something. So here there is no relationship. So whatever the insurance amount is contributed based on the rules, but the employees are going to get the benefit for that particular level. Okay, it is not how much he has contributed, it is all about how much he is eligible for medical treatment. It was held in the case of ACC Limited versus Regional Director of ESI Corporation. And employer's contribution, as we said, it is of 3.25%. It should not be deducted from employee's salary. It should not be deducted from employee's salary. And under section 45, ESIC, Employee State Insurance Corporation, acts as a quasi-judicial authority. So it is an authority, it is a judicial authority, and people can come and put their grievances, and then it will be heard in Employee State Insurance Corporation's EI court. So ESIC is a quasi-judicial authority. So these are the key points with respect to Employee State Insurance Corporation. So we discussed two important aspects in this video. One is funds, ESI fund, and the second one is a contribution. So fund requires the contribution, and this contribution will be given by employer and employee. Employee share is 0.75%, employer share is 3.25%. If employee salary is less than 134 rupees, then he is exempted from payment, but employer has to make a payment for his 3.25%. And if any employee salary is more than 21,000, then ESI Act is not applicable, and then he is not an insured person. This is in summary about Employee State Insurance Fund and contribution. Thank you so much. Please, I request you to submit your questions in comment box below, and also subscribe Parva Media channel for more LLB related videos. Thank you very much.